Welcome back to another exciting episode of Game Week 39. My name is Kadishoro Matiza. I'm your host for this episode, and I'm never alone. I'm always with my co-host Mario Ramakanya.
Never riding solo, my guy.
You know what it is.
What's happening, Game Week 39 world? We are back with another one.
Yeah.
A hot one of a fresh and amazing game week.
You know what it is. And speaking of a hot one that is fresh, I mean, I'm sure our viewers can see a bit of a change here. We've got some nice setups going on at the back.
Don't mind the Springboks.
This is, for those that do not know who the Springboks are, this is our national rugby
Is
team.
there someone who doesn't know the Springboks?
I'll be surprised. Yeah, and we
in
just...
honor of that historic comeback
you know what it
Park,
is. So we decided to feature this one here so that, hoping that the boys do it again when they go down in Cape Town. They're going down to Cape Town this weekend.
Jordan 96, 97.
You know what it is.
Back-to-back
Bokke. But yeah, man, looking at the headlines, Mario, we're going to talk a bit more about, Manchester City and Liverpool, 3-on-3. The two that are leading the pack. I mean, nothing seems to have changed, since, let me say, Klopp left with a slot there, starting to pick up momentum on challenging the league title. And then we're also going to have a chat about, Arsenal and Tottenham dropping some points there. We're going to have a look at, we'll just discuss a bit about the international break that's coming, which tends to affect a lot of managers. We see with the chips that are also being played, after some couple of games. And we have some fun activities that Mario is going to also take us through, which I think we can be excited about. But besides that, I think, Mario, let's get into it. Speaking of results, I started with Arsenal versus Brighton. That was a 1-1, a draw between the two. I saw Declan Rice got a red card in that game. What happened?
Arsenal continue to try and bridge that gap between them and Manchester City.
Yeah.
But it shows that there's still something lacking. Declan Rice got the red card for kicking the ball away. It was the second yellow actually that got him the red. Even though he was kicked, I don't understand how that worked. To be fair, I don't think he should have gotten the second yellow, especially considering the circumstance. Yeah. But then again, he's an Arsenal player, so he deserved it.
He deserved it. We ended up losing clean sheets for the backline because they went on to concede João Pedro, who some of us do not have. But our Arsenal defense, I don't know if you saw my team, I decided to bring in Raya in my backline.
I know, and I don't blame you, especially with those bonus points that he's been collecting. But Brighton continue the good form they've been. 7 points from 3 games.
From 3 games.
Danny Welbeck, João Pedro, Mitoma.
We're seeing
they continue to look quite attractive.
With a 31-year-old manager, can you believe it? The youngest
31.
manager, I believe,
it's
ever.
my age.
Ever in the Premier League.
Crazy, the youngest.
Wild.
I think AVB was the youngest before.
Yes, AVB, I would like to believe so.
And Lampard were pretty close in age when he managed that Chelsea.
And then Everton losing, a game almost done.
Yeah.
They say it's probably one of the greatest, I would say comebacks. We were speaking of the Springboks coming back. This one in terms of the Premier League.
No, they got some Boca blood in
You know what I'm saying? So these guys, I think there was a picture that was going on on the Premier League Instagram page where they were showing Everton winning 2-0 in the 86th minute, and then Bournemouth coming back to win 3-2. It must
crazy
be disappointing for Sean Dyche there.
Yeah, crazy scenes there in Merseyside. Everton 2-0 lead at home. 86th minute, you think it's done, dusted, buried.
The game is done. 86 minutes.
And then all of a sudden, Semenyo, Cook, Sinatra come out of nowhere and turn it on their head. I'm actually quite shocked that Bournemouth have that in them. I thought after losing Dominic Solanke and not bringing in anyone really of notoriety.
Yeah, that's true. Most of us stayed away from their assets.
Yeah, they would lose something. But Semenyo, 3 returns in 3 games, looking like also quite a differential there at Bournemouth.
And Sinastra, as you said, he made it into the team of the week, by the way, with a goal and assist.
Sinatra is quite a good player. you will remember him from Leeds when they came up.
Yeah.
He was one of the star players in that side, and one of the only hopes they had of staying up when they were fighting.
For managers, only
Along with the
5.0 million, by the way.
P. Banford when he was not injured.
Only 5 million for managers. That's something to consider in that Bournemouth side,
Yeah,
for some points. But West Ham, I think this one we saw it. West Ham versus Manchester City. We saw this one. We predicted the scoreline. I think disappointing for us who still have the likes of Guardiola. I don't know. Some managers probably also have the likes of Ederson at the back. Them conceding against Ipswich and now conceding against West Ham.
I mean, like at this point, what can we even say about clean sheets? We can't say we're disappointed in Guardiola. You'll be disappointed in Gabriel. These are the two best defense from the previous season. Arsenal and Manchester City. Hundreds. And they can't keep a clean sheet to save
against
their lives. So I mean, it's tough. Liverpool, the only team to keep a clean sheet this whole game week. 3 clean sheets on the trot
in 3 games.
I mean, I wish I had one Liverpool defender. I had Kwanzaa, and then I don't know what happened there.
You did.
Now I really wish I had brought in one Liverpool defender there. But hey, it's still early on in the season. Teams are still finding themselves, and like I said, Liverpool don't be too much on the bright side, thinking that maybe you might go win the league because
there's no pressure on us. I think when you see when there's no pressure, I mean we have nothing to lose.
I've never seen
people are expecting us to be a Manchester United or Chelsea
or Arsenal.
I don't know about being an us though, but there's no pressure. There's no pressure, and I think that's something that's working for us.
I mean, Arsenal do well 2 seasons, and now you're like, you don't know about Arsenal. Let's look back when Arteta finished 8th and 2 seasons in a row, and even further back when they finished 10 or whatnot. So yes, like a Arsenal, that's what we expected.
Before we move away from this West Ham versus Manchester City, Erling Haaland. I said it 3 times.
Bow into my heart, guy. Straight a dagger.
Again, we sat here and we spoke about this.
And I said that I probably might captain him or Cole Palmer if I had him in my team. But I don't know. It's difficult. How do you get fit in the most expensive FPL asset of all time?
Keeps on rising
into your team. You made a mistake.
Ownership is now currently at 60-something%, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's 65.6.
I think there were 300,000 managers who were smarter than me when they decided to play their wild cards this past game.
Yeah.
Some of them went for the Salah double up. No wonder the season average in the last 3 game weeks is 69 points. I think this probably is the highest starting average probably in the history of FPL.
I got a 66 and I still had red arrows.
My guy, 69 is the 3-week game average now.
Yeah.
For all 3 game weeks combined, 69 points is the average.
But I'm sure you have a plan. I'm sure you're cooking somewhere there to fix this. To fix this hole, because this ship won't get far.
Last season, I played my wild card game week 3, I think.
That's not the Ronaldo season.
No, it's last game.
Yeah.
Now, I was planning to push it till game week 6, but I might be strong-armed into making a decision soon, especially with Allah. But then
the title of our previous episode was is it too early to play the wild card?
Hey, I guess not. 300,000 managers didn't think it's too early, and most of them it paid off. So
Newcastle, Tottenham.
I told you last week I was pretty sure Spurs was going to win that game. I was 90% sure. I could have probably bet my house on it.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty bad gambler, so I don't think you guys should follow any of my gambling.
Do not listen.
Please
if you
don't.
Putting your money on Betway from this man's advice.
So, Newcastle came through finally with the result. Isak finally returned.
He did.
Got the goal, 3 bonus points. I mean, we were expecting this from the first game week. So finally returned.
I was happy. He was my vice captain, by the way.
Hopefully it continues. De Bruyne was my the mistake.
Did you say De Bruyne?
Was my vice captain, but he only returned 1 point.
Hectic. Who has De Bruyne, Mario? Come on.
I mean,
you got rid of Foden for De Bruyne.
Yeah.
No, why?
I had to patch a hole in that Man City squad, and he scored 12 points the previous game week. You did see that. So I had to find a way to patch that Man City hole. That at least maybe De Bruyne assists all of Haaland's goals. That would be a possibility, or he scores one himself. That's one.
I would have thought you would have gone for Eze.
No, it was a consideration, but my heart
thought you were going for Eze.
Obviously, because they're playing Chelsea. I was hoping that this is not the game week. But he finally
did,
returned.
And I also sold him and brought in Smith Rowe, who did nothing, and Eze did something. You know, the FPL gods, when they are not smiling down on you. The game of the weekend, Man United versus Liverpool.
Oh.
We butchered.
Is that a game of the weekend, or is the slaughtering of the weekend?
I didn't say that, you heard.
I mean, like, it's like we had a butchery or something like that. You know, it's like, how do you want it? You want the thigh? You want the leg, breast?
Yeah.
Choose your
piece. It was a feast. It was a feast.
I mean, did you see? I sent something in the group, in one of the groups we're in. Did you see Mohamed Salah, the disrespect, the triangle, the three-touch play, Salah going inside, cutting back, kicking, trying to kill it into the post. It took a deflection and barely went on.
It was practice.
It was literally school ground football. Like, it took me back to the days of when we had school. And then there's that one guy.
That's how good Liverpool are, guys. Just,
I think maybe that's how bad United are. So, like, don't pat yourself on the back too much.
But Salah, he loves this fixture. He continues to score against Man United.
Since 2001.
I don't understand how you didn't captain him.
I thought about it, and I was like, if I had, that's
whoever you consulted during the summer, go get your money back.
My brother,
is not working for you.
If I even if I don't have Haaland, 2 game weeks, I captain Palmer, I captain Salah,
yes,
and I have my points. I'm sitting above you. I have 36 more points than what I have now. But it's always the but. So yeah, Salah. He was dancing. Old Trafford is literally Salah's home ground. Like, I mean, since 2021, Salah has scored the 5th most goals at Old Trafford. 4, he's only behind Marcus Rashford on 31 goals.
Yeah.
Bruno Fernandes on 29. It's in third. It's Cristiano Ronaldo. Impressive 1.5 season. At 36, he scored 17 goals at Old Trafford. McTominay in 4th with, I think, should be 15 goals. And then Mohamed Salah in 5th with like 12 goals. So imagine, in the last 4 years, Mo Salah has played maybe 8 fixtures or something like that at Old Trafford, but he's the number 5th top goal scorer.
And he said he just wants to enjoy his football. He just wants to enjoy
his last season, I hope.
So I want us to touch on Liverpool defense before we leave. I spoke about me bringing in Raya, just to double up on that Arsenal defense, because, I mean, we saw the first 2 games keeping clean sheets. And I think this one also they would have kept a clean sheet if it was not for the red card. But to not speak about Ellison and the Liverpool defense, 3-on-3, the only team that hasn't conceded yet. Ellison against Ipswich, 7 points. Last game week against Brentford, 6 points. And now this one, 8 points. I mean, I do not even want to speak about the likes of Trent and, the rest of the company at the back line. Should managers probably start prioritizing their defense towards Liverpool? Getting rid of the likes of Guardiola for myself? Or is it a bit too early? Should we give these guys a bit of time?
I would say everything will balance itself out.
Yeah.
Liverpool will not be the only team in the Premier League that keeps a clean sheet. This past weekend was an aberration, of course. Man City will start controlling games more, keep clean sheets. Arsenal showed they can keep clean sheets, obviously, against Wolves. So I wouldn't go all in. Liverpool, they are because they're quite expensive. The defenders. And you could, trust me, you want to try and fit
Guardiola
Salah.
is not cheap also, yes.
He's not. But I'm sure you'd love to fit Salah and Haaland in one team. And you're not going to do that with 2 Liverpool defenders at the back. So it's all about putting your money in the right places. You know, the top point scorers every season are attackers. So I think that's where the majority of your budget should go. And if you can fit in maybe one premium defender, probably I would go for a Liverpool player right now. Man City don't have the best fixtures coming up. I think they play Newcastle and
Liverpool, on the contrary, they have Nottingham, they have Bournemouth, and they have Wolves.
Exactly, but after game week 6, fixtures take a turn for Arsenal and Man City. So that's when I was planning to play my wild card and obviously load up more on Man City and Arsenal assets.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
But the fixtures do lighten up. They should be able to keep a bit more clean sheets. Guardiola should be able to get forward more. Rico Lewis actually looking quite attractive. Started 3 out of 3 games.
Yeah, but Kyle Walker came back, didn't he feature?
But I mean,
that gives a manager a bit of a headache there.
It gives a headache, and obviously Kyle Walker is your senior player, is that guy in the locker room.
Exactly.
But I see them trying to phase him out a bit because he's not the same footballer that he once was. And
Mara kept Vinny in the Champions League there. Was still running with him, and you could tell that the pace was still there. But I get what you mean. I get what you mean. So moving on, green arrows, red arrows.
I don't even need to pick up my phone for that.
What is it?
Red arrows.
Red arrows.
I told you this is probably the worst start to the season.
I was shocked. I'm like, how do I get 63 points and I have red arrows? It was just red. It was blood. It was a bloodbath. It was a bloodbath. I didn't even get a single green arrow. Which just shows that maybe it is time to play that wild card and start fixing some stuff there. But quickly looking at the points, I did speak of the fact that I scored 63 points, having captained Haaland, who gave me a total of 34 points. And you decided to go with Cole Palmer, who eventually, in the overall score, you got 55 points. And Palmer himself, he gave you 12 points.
Hey.
I'm sure you were gutted. Looking at Salah, they would say with the solid 17 points.
So 1 or 2 chances that he could have buried. This conversation would have been a different conversation. But I still retain my faith in Palmer. He's obviously, if you watch the games, you see what he does in that team against any team, whether it be Man City, Liverpool. He doesn't care. He's out there to play. Most goals and assists combined last season, more than any other player in the league. Highest point scorer, 244 if I'm remembering correctly. Probably top 20 points of all time in his first full debut season. So I'm not too worried about him. He'll repay my faith. He did last week with 17 points.
Standout players were Salah, who was voted king of the game week. I think he was voted in the first game week. And then I think the game week after that, just to quickly make sure that I have my facts right, it was Madueke, and then now it's Salah again. Reasons why some of us who do not have him are realizing
I'll tell you something now.
It's a problem. He's a problem.
The fastest ever 3-game start in terms of FPL points to the beginning of any season was broken this season. And that was 41 points in the first 3 game weeks, and that's Mohamed Salah and Erling Haaland tied. 41 apiece. So when I think about it, did I really make the wrong choice? He's 2.5 million cheaper than Erling Haaland.
It was a tough decision that managers had to make.
It was a tough decision. Some managers went with both, and they were well rewarded for it.
Hundreds.
So is it really a thing that we only have to have one, or is it essential that we have both? I think
it's essential to
because
have two of them.
41 points apiece in the last 3 game weeks, most ever in a 3-game week span at the beginning of any season.
Wow! So Salah voted king of the game week, having scored a goal, 2 assists, currently sitting at 12.6 million with an ownership of 41.2%, and then Haaland, as we said, speaking of the 2 best performing players so far, top scoring players. Also scoring 17 points, but this time around Haaland, or rather let me say, contrary to Salah, he scored 3 goals, so which gives him his second hat-trick in 3 games.
In 3 games. You saw the stats.
That is wild.
What is that? 9 hat-tricks in 68 appearances.
That is insane.
9 hat-tricks in 68 appearances. Think about that.
Market value 15.2 million. We've never seen a player
At
13
15 million.
13 used to be, it was mind blowing when it first came onto the market when you saw a player who was valued at 13 million. And
12.
now you're seeing.
It was 13 so far, 12.
And now you're seeing 15.2.
When Salah came out at 12 and Harry Kane was 12, we were like, what the hell's going on here?
His ownership, Haaland, is currently, as I said earlier, 65.6%. And then Diaz comes on to finish that top 3 with 15 points, having scored 2 goals. His market value is 7.6 million. With an ownership of 14.8%. I think that is likely to rise. Some of us decided to go with Diogo Jota, who we are still waiting, but still hopeful that he is still going to be contributing to those goals. But that is the standout players of the top 3, or rather for this past game week. Mario, you had some fun segment to bring onto this episode.
Yeah, no, I was thinking. We've had 3 game weeks now. I think you and me have like a little hit, see how FPL.
I'm not as prepared, guys.
No, I'm not prepared either. So what we're gonna do is you're gonna, based on the last 3 gaming, you're gonna give our lovely viewers your picks for the surprise selection, not the obvious one, the surprise selection for goalkeeper, defender, midfielder, and attacker.
So by surprise selection, what do you
like a differential of sorts, like who might surprise us this gaming or this season based on the 3 game weeks that have passed. So you're gonna give me which goalkeeper has impressed you, which is not your Ryers or your but you can. Fair enough, you can't exclude them. But yeah.
Goalkeepers, I can't think of a goalkeeper right now. Besides the one that I have Flecken. I think Flecken is
has he impressed?
I haven't been paying really too much attention to goalkeepers. But I think looking at Flecken himself, 4 points in the first game week, 3 points in the past game week, 3 points, even though they've conceded. I think, in terms of saves also, I think most of the points that he's getting is coming from there. Yeah. But if I'm being frankly honest, unless I start going through the stats now, I cannot think of any other goalkeeper. I haven't been paying too much attention to Sa from Wolves. I know that he also tends to have a very good saving percentage. Who else is there? Dean Henderson. I don't know how those points are stacking up.
Maybe you think Ramsdale is gonna go revive Southampton season. Maybe he did go there for quite big money.
You think the Southampton defense is good enough to get him some points there?
It's not about the Southampton defense. 3 saves is a bonus point. Can still maybe get them 1 or 2 points saved by him. 3 bonus points on top of save points.
I don't know. I'll bounce it back to you. Who has impressed you in the 3 games so far?
I won't say impressed, but the one I'm looking towards to surprise us this gaming is a keeper which obviously was in the spotlight a lot, but fell off because of injury. And we all know his quality, but this is his first season back, and I think he's going to have a point to prove. And that's Pope.
Pope
from Newcastle. Back fully fit.
He scored some good points, I think, last game week.
Yeah, I think he's sitting on 16 points, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I don't think Newcastle has managed to keep a clean sheet. They kept the 1 clean sheet, I think, the first game, if I'm not mistaken. So, I think obviously we know his potential when it comes to saving.
Yeah.
And now the FPL rewards keepers for bonus point saves. And I think he can steal a lot of those bonus points at the end of the game by keeping Newcastle in certain games, saving points for them. So for me, I think my surprise selection is the comeback season for Nick Pope in terms of goalkeepers. Yeah.
Okay. I guess that would also support some of the defensive assets that could be sitting with Newcastle maybe. Dan Burn maybe coming into the picture. Or you think primarily just from the saves?
I think primarily just from the saves. I don't think necessarily, because we know his potential, how good he is.
Yeah.
We know how good he is with keeping that ball out of the net. Some amazing, ridiculous saves he's made over the years. And the number of saves he's made over the years. So I think just from saves and bonus point potential.
Okay. And defenders?
Defenders. this one might make you smell a bit, but actually Andy Robertson, I like
Robertson.
Him. Yeah, I like
Okay.
him. It's also another one for comeback season because he struggled with injury.
You think we're gonna see that trend in Andy combo?
I think it might revive.
Where the one does the one thing and then the other response.
And we know Andy is more than capable of getting forward. He's still young. He's still 27, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So if barring injury and any niggles, he should be able to get up and down that left-hand side for Liverpool and contribute in a real way. And I think the manager likes him. And I think he'll play a lot of games. Liverpool obviously have Van Dijk and Alisson there at the back. So you already know it's already locked for a while.
Yeah.
And it will be difficult to break. So, and they've shown with the 3 consecutive clean sheets. So Andy Robertson for me.
Again, I think with the numbers, also just looking, I just quickly pulled the scores here. I cannot see anyone from who's outside of the top teams that performed last season in terms of defensive points. I mean, your Poros were in that list. Your obviously most of the Arsenal assets were there. But if I'm just thinking from the top of my head right now, I saw Keane score a goal for Everton. And I'm just trying to think that I have him on my team, and I had him on my team simply because I think, given how Everton were doing so well towards the end of last season, with the amount of saves that who's the England's number one again?
That is Pickford.
Pickford. I brought him in for that reason, thinking that this season he could actually continue to build up on that.
Yeah.
But it's looking like I don't know, especially after the Bournemouth game, it's looking like Sean Dyche in terms of, I don't know, he's set up but defensively. I don't know. It could be going south. I don't know. But I think Keane for me is someone that I'm still planning on keeping for some time. Also looking at the price that I'm getting him for. But yeah, besides that, I think I still need.
Wouldn't be too optimistic.
Yeah,
Everton scares me. It looks like it's always about to fight relegation.
And given that they came from that battle, and now there are conversations about them probably looking like a contender again.
They always. Let's just hope Dominic Solanke can get back. DCL can get back to something close to.
And I think he has contributed quite well
to his former base, because when that boy was firing, he was really firing, and I thought he was gonna be picked up by a bigger team later down the line. What Ollie Watkins is now is what I thought Dominic Calvert-Lewin was gonna be.
Yes.
That's what I thought was gonna happen.
Yeah.
What he did, what Ollie does.
But it was the injury, wasn't it?
For Villa is what I thought Watkins would do for Everton.
It was the injury that started affecting his game.
Yeah, he's never been the same.
Yeah. And then are we going all the way to midfields and attackers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why not?
Midfield. Trossard. I'm talking about my players. And that's precisely because for me, as I said, I think I spoke about Trossard earlier.
Yeah.
That I feel like this season is his season. He needs to get his time. I only watched brief, minutes of the Arsenal highlights against Brighton, and I think he also could have almost returned points again, back to back, with the cross from the left, which I think I'm not sure if it was Havertz who came to it and he missed it, but it was a good cross that I think had he scored it, everyone would have started considering Trossard, because he started for the first time. He started a game against Arsenal.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned him probably getting half of the games, but
hey, it's about to get worse now with Raheem Sterling. And I was saying that and I was saying that considering
also
Gabriel Jesus,
for that same side of the
so now with Raheem Sterling, I'm not even looking at that left hand side of
but
Arsenal.
For me, probably a surprise package. I would have still said Trossard, but I'm beginning to think otherwise. Also, given the fact that my fingers are on activating that wild card. I cannot.
It's like your nuclear button. That American switch. And
I'm only
option.
The only thing that is That still has him on my team now because I haven't activated it, but I cannot continue gambling on whether he's going to start or not.
I thought you would have went with maybe Luis Diaz because he's been quite impressive.
I have Jota. I
And
cannot have Luis Diaz and Jota.
No, I don't mean in terms of World Cup, but I mean in terms of surprise selection. I think maybe this might be his season actually to actually establish himself in that Liverpool side. He's no longer under that cloud of Klopp, where Klopp had his players, he viewed certain players a certain way or whatnot. Now it's a new regime.
Yeah.
It's a new dictatorship, no longer the Klopp dictatorship. And everyone has a chance to prove themselves. It's like what's similar to what's happening at Chelsea. Those forwards, I think, we're going to suffer a lot because a lot of them will want to score goals, to prove themselves instead of playing for the team.
Yeah.
But then with Liverpool, you guys already have that chemistry. So I think Luis Diaz, I thought you would have picked him. But I'm not going for Luis Diaz because he still has to compete with the likes of Chiesa and Jota and Nunez. So I'm going to go with Brian Mbeumo.
Brian Mbeumo, okay. Being the man that leads the Brentford attack.
He is now the man. Ivan Toney is gone till next year. He's going to be making 500,000 euros a week over there after tax. So I'm going with Mbeumo. He's probably on penalties now.
And it's definitely a wild card watch list that I have.
Exactly. He's the man now at Brentford. They dance to the tune of his drum. And they're getting the results. They're scoring the goals. He's returned, I think, 24 points in the last 3 game weeks. And he's combining well with Wisa. So, and he's yet to take a penalty. So I think Brian Mbeumo in terms of midfield.
And then attack. Jamie Vardy.
Jamie Vardy. Yeah, this is not 2016. Maybe it was 2016.
What about Jamie Vardy? You'd be surprised, eh?
Yeah, maybe if we could get a time machine or something, go back to 2016, and he had Kante and Mahrez and all of that, then...
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Then I would pick Jamie Vardy, but I'm going to go with... I'm stuck between Nicholas Jackson and hear me.
Get out of here. I don't know what you see in Jackson, and I keep saying that.
I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Okay.
Of all players.
Because of that reaction, I'm going to go with Nicholas Jackson.
Now you're folding it. No, Jackson.
And hear me out. Hear me out. Let me cook, my guy. Let me cook.
You could have even said, who's this guy? The former Wolves guy. Who's at Fulham? What's his name?
Jimenez. Come on. You're talking about... You want me to talk about ICU players?
You think you're going to bring in Jackson? Jackson is heading for ICU.
Raul Jimenez is more likely to recover at Baragwana Hospital in Johannesburg than he is to outscore Jackson this season for points. Like, we can bet on that.
You can tell the biasness in this commentary because
it was a toss-up between Johan Wissa and I was about to go with another Brentford guy.
We've already spoken about him.
And Jackson, but now because you're throwing my nigga so much hate, I'm gonna go with
that
Jackson.
One I can even bet right now
I'm
on the
go
record.
With Jackson.
I can bet that.
And I'm gonna tell you why. Because Jackson has returned in all 3 game weeks, except for the first one. Actually, he returned in the last 2 game weeks. Sorry, he didn't return in the first one. Goal and assist in the second game week, and a goal last game week. He's always involved. Outside of Cole Palmer, because Chelsea didn't bring in Victor Osimhen, they didn't bring in Ivan Toney. So outside of Cole Palmer, probably Enzo Fernandez, Moise Caicedo. He is probably the most nailed on Chelsea player, and I promise he's gonna be involved in everything. He might miss some chances, but he's gonna put some chances away. And if Chelsea improve from last season, and they're able to hit flashes and glimpses of what they showed against Wolves, I promise you're going to be eating your words.
Jackson.
And they're going to be saying, I'm sorry, Miss Jackson.
No.
You're going to be saying, I'm sorry, Mr. Jackson.
Let's
Trust
move
me
on.
at the end of the season.
Let's move on. Upcoming fixtures. The fixture of the game week is Spurs versus Arsenal. That's the London derby. I don't know what Well, I think we have a good idea that Arsenal is going to be the most dominant team. But I don't know who Pochettino could pull up.
my GP.
Yeah, what he could come up with in terms of probably causing an upset. As much as we're saying it's an upset at home, but your thoughts there? This coming fixture, Spurs, Arsenal.
Hey, I'm not too sure about Arsenal's chances of winning the game or Spurs' chances of winning the game. I think it's a toss-up. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
Spurs.
Declan Rice is out, by the way.
Declan Rice is out, but then, like they said, they've got a party and party. So Thomas Partey can fill in, then Jorginho can come in. They got but the guy's injured. Michael Moreno, the one they signed on a few days before deadline day. So yeah, I think Arsenal might win it.
Yeah.
Or it might just end up in a draw. In a 2-2 draw or 1-1 draw. But Spurs could steal it because Spurs up, down, hot, cold. Yes, no. So
do you think Spurs is gonna reintroduce Dominic Solanke going into this one?
Yeah,
because he came back from injury.
Yeah, after the international game week, I think he should be better. He should be healthy to start 2 weeks off. I don't think he's gonna go and re-injure himself when most players are off.
Something for managers who are going to be playing the wild card to probably think of in terms of leaving room for him to come on. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm not too sure of Spurs' fixtures. I can't think of them. They can't come right to my head.
Yeah.
But I believe they don't have the best fixtures in the immediate next 3 fixtures. I think they play.
They've Arsenal, and then they've Brentford, they've United after that.
So, and then it's a bit sketchy, and then a few good games, and then a bit sketchy again.
Yeah.
So I'd probably keep him for maybe after United, see how Spurs stabilize after that game. And then that's why I was saying game week 6-7 was a good time to wildcard, because a lot of teams do come around into good fixtures. But if your team is in crisis mode and you've had the worst start in your FPL career like I have, you might consider taking it a little bit sooner. So it's a toss-up with that game. Probably gonna be a good watch though.
I was listening to some of our fellow content producers on FPL, and they were speaking of possibilities of shipping out the Arsenal defense and probably bringing it back. And for me, the one thing that tends to come to my mind is we always forget the reason why we actually put our teams together in the first place. Yes, you could make the observation and realize that things are things are different. The team is no longer as what you thought it was, or the players are not as what you thought they would be going into the season. But when you're sitting with 2-3 Arsenal assets, specifically, say also in defense, and you're probably not planning on playing a wild card, is there any reason for managers to panic in terms of selling and probably bring in those assets, or should they rather save those transfers for other important areas and see out these fixtures that are coming?
I wouldn't say it's a good idea to ship out with the wild card, because those are expensive assets and they're gonna be difficult to bring back in without the wild card. So if you're gonna ship out the Arsenal defender, maybe you ship him out now. If it's like a single transfer and you're using a cheaper option, and maybe you wanna pivot to something else the next game week with the recovered funds, and then maybe wild card 2 game weeks down the line when the fixtures get better. I can understand a play like that. But if you're gonna wild card, I would advise make sure you leave room for at least 1 or 2 of those more expensive Arsenal players. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So at least when their form does hit and the fixtures do become better, you're not left there with your proverbial dick in your hand.
And then Liverpool versus Nottingham. Anyone from that Liverpool front three can just get goals.
It could be a butcher, it
You
could
know,
be a slaughterhouse.
you know, and well, we're panicking already. Those who do not have Liverpool assets, or rather Salah's. Let me be more specific. There's one player who's very consistent, and that's Mohamed Salah.
I would be afraid. The way I'm afraid I don't have Haaland.
Yeah,
I would be afraid if I didn't have Haaland and Salah. If I, for some crazy reason, some spirit bewitched me, and I started my season without either of the two, I'd be literally shaking in my boots.
Could we get lucky and see Dean Henderson perform spectacular saves to deny this front three and probably buy us some time? Or we are expecting, if you do not have, as I said, Liverpool assets, it's time to jump on them now.
I think Nottingham Forest is a good football team, so I don't think they're gonna get like railroaded or anything like that.
Yeah.
They have potential going forward with Chris Wood and Gibbs White, and defensively, of course, they're not the strongest. So I do expect Liverpool to score. To be fair, it's just about how many will they score, and will Nottingham make it a competitive game. So I think that's more of the what you should be considering. But the fixtures are pretty good for Liverpool for the next couple of game weeks. So I wouldn't be opposed to, if you do wild card, I would definitely want a Diaz or Salah, or at the very least a Jota in my team.
Before we move on, just some recent head-to-head statistics. The last two fixtures that were played between the two, obviously Liverpool hosting Nottingham, Liverpool has scored 3 goals.
I'm sure Salah was probably involved in 2
I'm
out
sure
of
he
3.
was. So just
double-digit goals.
Just for the managers that think probably it might be a goalless draw, that is the possibilities that we're looking at. A good 3 goals.
Like I said, Liverpool's probably definitely 90%. Okay, it's probably statistically 90% is quite high. Yeah. But I mean, they probably well over 50% chance of scoring this game week.
And then the last fixture that I have here, Manchester City versus Brentford. What can we expect there?
I think it's gonna be a difficult game for City. Yeah. Defensively, Brentford still retain the same players. The manager has been playing in a more positive way. I wouldn't say Brentford has the best defense, but they're not conceding crazy number goals or chances or anything like that. So I think it will be a more difficult than what Man City has faced thus far. Yeah. And I say that knowing that they played Chelsea at the beginning of the season. Yeah. But that was before Maresca was cooking. Now he's cooking. But I think it will be a competitive game. City maybe wins it 2-1.
All right, managers, you heard. So just quickly looking into our mini league just to see exactly how things are standing. As much as we had red arrows, people are having green arrows here, but we still see that Raul is still leading. This is Jokers. Jokers is leading. You'll remember that Jokers played a triple captain 2 game weeks back
on Haaland against
Ipswich. So he's still leading the pack.
It was quite a popular chip play, that one actually.
So he's still leading the pack, for in our mini league there, and then second following him, it's also a very familiar manager who's been on the pod before. Kyle, we see you. Shelby Company. Man. Kyle has pushed up. He's been having a great season recently.
Yeah, no, even last season he started quite well. So
whatever you're cooking, Kyle, keep cooking. And familiar managers, when you see them sitting already in the top 5, top 10 of this mini league, yes, it's gonna be tough to pause them there, because they tend to dig up. They dig up,
that's
and then
a good start is very important, especially when you're playing against such top class managers.
And we see a new manager name here. Maybe not new to our mini league, as I said. We have a very massive mini league here. But third is Luvuyo Diko. And so
that's a new name up there.
Congrats, we know a fellow manager, Zooks.
Zook's
so
up
Zook's
there,
brother.
Oh, it's Zook's brother.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Shout
Zook's
out.
brother, shout out there. Vuyo, where we see the Joama says starting 11. Yeah. So sitting in third position, not too far, 5 points away from Carl. And Carl, I think, is just about 13 points away from Joker's Raul there. So yeah, man, managers are starting to make some headway there. But yeah, Mario, we're going into an international break. Managers are going to have more than enough time to actually think and decide on exactly what to do with the wild card if they've triggered it.
Yeah, but you know what the trap is with the international break.
Yeah.
Players do tend
Get
to come
injured.
back with injuries and niggles.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be important
Watkins
that
already has a triangle.
you see how Cole Palmer was withdrew from the England squad earlier on today. So I'm hoping that's not an injury. I really hope that's not an injury. So I'm a praying man, so I'll be talking to God. We'll be in deep conversation. So other than that, I think managers should just obviously monitor the injury and fitness of players before playing that wild card. And then take it from there. Of course, the numbers speak for themselves. You know who are the consistent ones and who are the ones that are coming. So.
Yeah. All right. But yeah, I think this does bring us to the end of the show.
That was quick.
Yeah. They say time flies when you're having fun. But just a reminder to the managers that the deadline that is upcoming is actually the 14th of September, midday. So that is not this coming this coming weekend, but it's the following one. So more than enough time for you managers to plan out exactly, the teams that you guys are going to put together, the defensive lineups, all the possibilities of how you put together your bench just in case your starting 11 doesn't necessarily go on to play there, or rather some of those players there. But I think from our side, this does bring us to the end. Anything in closing, Mario?
Like I always say, managers should be mindful of the numbers, the fixtures. If you're gonna wild card, make sure you keep an eye on those international fixtures and those injuries. And like I always say, men lie, women lie, but numbers never lie.
So numbers never lie. But yeah, from us, this does bring us to the end. Remember to follow us and subscribe, to the channel. The views, we really appreciate the views, guys. We need more views. As we said, we're growing. We are putting things together here. A lot of changes are still going to happen. The team, behind the cameras, doing the most things.
The men that make the magic happen.
Exactly. So we appreciate every support, guys. But besides that, take care, and we shall catch you guys in the next episode. Cheers.
Peace.